Hello learners, I am Dr. Laila Simon, Associate Professor from the Department of Management with the Bhopal School of Social Sciences, and today in this session I will be discussing on data editing, coding and tabulation. The process of analysis begins only after the data has been collected, and it makes sense only when it is analyzed efficiently. The basic steps involved for any primary data analysis are editing, coding and tabulation. Data can mainly be classified into two types: the quantitative classification, which is on the basis of variables or quantity, and the other is qualitative classification, which is according to the attributes. The classified data may be arranged in tabular forms. When mass data has been gathered, it really becomes necessary for the researcher to arrange them in some order. The classification of data helps in the best presentation and a clear and systematic exhibition, and can easily be understood and analyzed. There are several ways of presenting data, like textual representation, tabular representation or diagrammatic representation. I will be discussing the tabular method of data presentation in detail. The conversion of raw data into information requires the data to be edited and coded so that it may be transferred to any storage device. Once the data has been obtained either from a primary source or from a secondary source, the next step in any statistical investigation is to edit the data to detect the possible errors and irregularities. Here comes the task of editing, which is highly specialized and requires great care and attention. So, let us understand editing. As mentioned, editing procedures are conducted to make the data ready for coding and to transfer to the data storage. A small adjustment is done with utmost care to include the data which is of most importance. The purpose of editing is to ensure completeness, consistency and the readability of the data. Many times the editor has to reconstruct the data as per the requirement and also bring to light the hidden values if present to extract all possible information from the questionnaire. The editing of data can be carried out in two stages: field editing and office editing. Field supervisors are often responsible for conducting preliminary field editing and on the same day as that when it has been interviewed. The main purpose is to identify technical omissions such as a blank page on a form or clarifying the responses that are logically or conceptually inconsistent. Field editing is particularly useful when personal interviews have been used to gather the data. The daily field edit also allows field workers to identify respondents who needs to be recontacted to fill the omissions, or if any found during the process of editing. The office editing is carried out when all the forms or schedules have been completed and returned to the office. Editing is done by a single editor for small service. However, a team of editors work together for larger inquiries. Office editing is most important for mail surveys as no field edit happen in such cases. Common errors editor are like entries made at a wrong space or by filling the remissed information, if possible after reviewing the entire responses. At time of retrieving essential information, the respondents can also be contacted for any kind of clarification. However, it must be noted that in office edit or central office edit as it is called sometimes, all decisions pertaining to the final edit before the analysis is taken care, and now the data is complete, legible, comprehensive, consistent and of course uniform. Coding is the process of identifying the classified responses or answer with a numerical score of a character or a symbol. Assigning numerical symbols permits the data transfer from the survey to the storage device for further processing. Say for example, to code a categorical data, say gender, you must use codes like 1 for male, 2 for female and 3 for any other. Codes are the rules for interpreting, classifying and recording the data. Researchers organize these coded data into fields, records and files. A field is a collection of characters that represent a single type of data, like gender of a person is one field. As discussed, the codes used were 1, 2 and 3 for males, females and others respectively. A record is a collection of related fields, and all related fields, for example, all the demographic variables like age, gender, income, marital status, education could be put under one record. Sometimes the researcher is not interested in maintaining multiple records and would prefer only one record, and so will have all the responses of a single respondent as a single record, and the records of the entire sample under study forms a single file. So, a file is a collection of all related records. Coding is an activity that should be taken not lightly at all, as any sort of improper coding can lead to a severe wrong analysis. Next, the most important area for doing the analysis is the tabulation of the data. What is this tabulation? Tabulation is the final step in the processing of data. Tabulation is the process of summarizing the raw data and display the same in compact form for further analysis. So, beginning with, what is a table? A table is a systematic arrangement of statistical data in rows and columns. Let us look at few definitions. Table involves the orderly and systematic presentation of numerical data in the form designed to elucidate the problem under consideration, or a table in its broadest sense is an orderly arrangement of data in columns and rows. So, we learned that table is a systematic organization and presentation of data in the form of rows and columns, where rows are the horizontal arrangements and columns are the vertical arrangements. Now, what are the features for a good table? Shocked to hear that? Any good table should have features like title as compatible with the objective of study. It should facilitate comparison. It should have an ideal size, stubs, should be use of 0 and of course the heading. Abbreviations should be there, short footnotes can be there, a column for total should be there, source of data, size of columns, and of course it should be simple, economical and attractive. The objectives of the tabulations are to carry out investigation, to facilitate comparison, to locate omissions and errors in the data, to use space economically, to simplify the complex data, to use it as a future reference, to save space, to facilitate statistical analysis, to bring out the essential features of the data. Remember, every table that we use has several parts, like a table number, the title of the table, caption and stubs, body, prefatory or head notes and footnotes. There are 3 different types of classification of tables. 1. Purpose of a table. Number 2. On the basis of originality of a table, and then the construction of a table. If we look at the kinds of the tables, according to the purpose, is divided into general purpose table and special purpose table. As per the originality, it is divided into original one and a derived table. As per the construction, you will find a simple one-way table which can have double or two-way or a triple table or a manifold table, and the third is a complex table which will have too many variables that would be shown. Let us watch out what is according to purpose. The types of tables are classified along the general purpose. General purpose table is that table which is of general use and does not serve any specific purpose or specific problem under consideration. Whereas, a special purpose table is that table which is prepared with some specific purpose in mind. According to originality, original table is the one in which the data is presented in the same form and manner in which they are collected. And derived table is the one in which the data is not presented in the form in which they are collected. Instead, the data is first converted into ratios, percentages, etc., and then they are presented. According to construction, in this category, the tables are either simple or complex. Complex tables can further be classified as double or two-way table, three-way table, manifold or higher order table. I have used a table which will give you information on the number of faculty researchers in an institute, say X, who have undertaken major and minor projects for 2 different years. Look at a simple table, you just have the data of what is the number of faculties of science and commerce who have opted for number of researchers. It does not give me any other information. It just tells me that the faculties of science and commerce and the number of researchers done by. Whereas, in a complex table or a two-way table, you will find that it is giving me more of details, like how many number of males and how many number of females. Moving on to a three-way table, you will find this is more explanatory. It is giving me more of details and shows me that there are males and females and separately the number of male and female faculty who have undertaken major and minor researches in the faculties of science and commerce. to make it a manifold or a higher order table, you will find the details are more. So, it is a 2-year calculations showing a detail of the entire faculty with the male and the female separation, with the number of major and the minor projects undertaken for 2 different years. So, all these tables help us to give us an insight of what is expected out of the researchers. Many times analysis can also be done just looking at the table. This is all from me in this session, and hope you understood what is the importance of data editing, coding and its presentation. Thank you once again.